Hi, and welcome to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed, the no BS hustle-free podcast for business owners who outsource or provide outsourcing services. I'm your host, Rosie Shilo, virtual assistant advocate and owner of Virtually Yours, the virtual assistant network. Let's get started. Welcome to this episode of Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. My name is Rosie Shilo, and today I want to talk to you about software programs that you may need before you outsource to a virtual assistant. I think this can be an area where people sort of freak out a little bit at the start. They wonder, what sort of programs the virtual assistant will be using to access their data or content, or how to best share what they've currently got with their new team member. It doesn't actually have to be all that complicated. So today I'm going to run through a few programs that I've used over the years, or I've heard of other virtual assistants using, that may make your life a little bit easier. But remember, you definitely don't need all of these. You may find you only need one or two, and you can keep it very, very simple. So the first thing that you're going to need, and this is pretty much a prerequisite, is an email program. So you may be using G Suite, or you may have just a general Gmail account or an Outlook account, somewhere where you can be communicating with each other via email. It is the most basic form of sending each other written content. And email is also great for follow-ups. So if you have a phone call, you can then follow each other up and confirm what you understand the job to be. So if you're having a chat with your VA and you finish up the call, it's always great if they then email you and say, okay, so this is what we're going to be doing moving forward. That way you can double check and make sure that you're both on the same page. Now, for the phone call itself, you might find a phone call is fine. You just use your landline or your mobile phone. Personally, I love chatting to people where I can see them. It helps with so much in terms of, getting an idea of whether they're understanding what you're talking about, and they can also see the same in you, and it's a lot more fun. So programs like Skype or Zoom are really good for this. So Skype is free, so that's pretty good, and you don't need to do anything complicated to set it up. You just download the program and run it, and you create an account, and then you basically connect with people that you want to have Skype calls with. And you can just message people in Skype as well, and choose either to have an audio conversation or a video conversation. Now with Zoom, it is a subscription-based program, and that can be really great when you're sharing, content or working on a document together. It's actually not massively better than Zoom when it comes to just having those casual one-to-one conversations. Not better than Skype, but Zoom's great if you're having conversations with multiple people and you want to record it, or for webinars and things like that. So if it's a more high-tech, more people involved kind of chat, then Zoom is a great one for that. But to start with, you might find that Skype does everything that you need. Now, another program that I absolutely love, and I remember before it came into existence how hard it was to share files, so I absolutely appreciate it now, and that is Dropbox. So Dropbox can be free depending on how much space you're using in it, but it's basically an online database or file section. So what happens is you download the Dropbox program to your computer, and what it does is it sets up a folder in your where all your folders are. So where it says downloads or desktop, you'll have a new little section there called Dropbox, and you just create folders and files in there as you would for any other file save. Very, very simple. You can then select who else can see which folders. So you need to share fairly top level folders. You can't share, a folder within a folder within a folder to one person, for example, you would need to share the top level. So you might find you have a lot of folders at the top level because you can't break them down to share separately with other people, but it is still absolutely amazing. So you may have a folder that's, I've got one, that says Rosie and Kate, for example, and they're the files that we share with each other on a particular project. So that's really, really useful. And if you end up with a certain amount of files in Dropbox, you can either choose to remove them from Dropbox, or you can upgrade and pay a subscription, and it's quite cheap. So it's a really, really good one to look at. Now, another type of program that you might find a virtual assistant talks to you about is a project management type program. The most common ones that I am hearing about are Asana, Trello, and TeamViewer. They're all different. They've all got their own pros and cons, and often with programs that you're managing your projects and you need to be checking in quite regularly, you need to find the one that works with the way your brain works. So they all look quite different, but they have very similar outcomes. So you might decide that you want to use a particular program because it works with the way that you think, or you may find that your virtual assistant is already using and recommends another one, and you're just happy to go with that because it keeps everything in the one spot. So those sorts of programs are really great for setting up your projects, working out who's working on what and what stage you're at with those projects. And that's all online as well. And you can store files and share updates with your virtual assistant without them having to log into your computer at any stage. And that's one of the bonuses of all of the programs that I've spoken about so far, is that they help avoid having to have anyone accessing your computer directly. So there are other programs out there that allow you to simply chat with each other and do quick updates, like Slack, for example, which I think the name of it is quite funny. It's quite contradictory, but anyway, it's a program where you can have particular topics and then include people in your team to your Slack account and update each other on those particular topics. So that they're just comments, or you can use a program like Zapier, for example, that connects programs to another program, so that when something happens on your website or in your CRM, a notification goes into Slack and your team can see what the latest sale is or query is, but it's all in one spot. So speaking of CRMs, I love CRMs, and I think having all of your client information and your projects where possible and your mail outs in one place is ideal. And it means that you can give people access or you can lock them out depending on what your needs are. So I use Entreport myself, and I absolutely love it. It does so much in my business. I don't need to use many other programs. But there are some really great ones out there like Dubsado and Zapier and, sorry, not Zapier, what am I thinking of? Active Campaign and starts with Z. Zoho, that's it, Zoho. I knew it would come out eventually. So they're all programs that people have definitely recommended, and you need to find a good fit for you. With those programs, you can usually have multiple users, so you can create a user login for your team members so they can support you with supporting your clients. Now, I have mentioned Zapier. And there are other programs that do the same thing, but this is the one that I've used the most, is a program that allows you to have different software programs speak to each other that normally wouldn't. So this is really handy, and I use it for quite a few things. So you might find someone sends a notification to you through your website, which then you can use Zapier if you need to send that notification and that field entries into your CRM. And you may find that if they make a particular sale on your website, a newsletter goes out from your CRM because of another Zap you've got set up, or it can go to MailChimp, for example. So programs that don't naturally speak to each other, you can use Zapier to get them to talk to each other. So it has all the APIs set up to make that really easy. And a virtual assistant can help you configure that if you need them to. And with all of those programs, if you don't have any of them set up, most virtual assistants are going to be able to help you set them up, learn how to use them, and if they don't know specifically themselves, they'll definitely be able to point you in the direction of someone who can. There are loads and loads of programs online to help you run your business. There's bookkeeping software as well, there's social media platforms, there's everything you can think of under the sun, and that can be really, really intimidating, but don't let it get you down. Just think about what works for you to help you be more efficient, not to make you feel like, you're on top of everything everywhere in the tech world, because you never will be, and simplicity is definitely going to benefit you in the long run. So that's all for me today. Just wanted to touch base on a couple of programs that people use when they are working with each other in teams virtually. Hopefully you found that helpful, and I'll put some links in the show notes to those different programs. Have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you soon in the next episode of Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Bye. Hey, thank you for listening to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Between now and our next session, I know you're going to be hanging out to take some action on outsourcing in your business, so head on over to virtuallyyours.com.au and you can download some information there about the best ways to outsource for business growth. If you're a virtual assistant, make sure you join us. We have an amazing virtual assistant community at Virtually Yours, Aussie VAs connecting and helping each other grow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you at the next podcast.